This build is legit cheese. But first, before I start, I wanted to apologize. I had made a build video like 2 weeks ago, and I discovered something that I didn't know back then. So I edited the video and trimmed the part out, and then I saved the new video on my computer, but the old video was still there, and they both had the same title. And when I uploaded my build video yesterday, I uploaded the version that I had not edited like an idiot, and I realized it like 10 hours later. So I decided to redo the video to explain to you guys this, and to at the same time tell you guys some things that I had said in the other video that are not actually accurate, that I'm not doing anymore. But first, I want to say something about the whips that I had mentioned in my other video. The whips are not that good, especially in PvP, because you hit the person twice and it doesn't continue like the peelers. The peelers will hit the person 4 times, 2 times with both weapons, but the whips, they will only do a double hit 1 time. And the whips, when you continue pressing the L1, they cost a lot of stamina. It's like you're hitting like a wet noodle. After like 3 or 4 hits, you have no more stam. And also, the players in PvP dodge the whips a lot easier than the peelers. Now, in my other build, I was telling you guys that I was proccing Seppuku on my back bar with another weapon, but actually I don't do that. I actually proc Seppuku now, because I didn't know back then, like 2 weeks ago, that you can actually proc Seppuku with your offhand weapon and not need to backbar it. Me, on my weapons, I run Seppuku on my offhand and I run Bloodhound Step on the other hand. The reason for that is proccing Seppuku on both weapons seems to not be as good against players and only against bosses. So in PvP, having Bloodhound Step on one weapon is actually better to dodge attacks and to avoid damage, obviously, and at the same time sometimes to get away, take a health pot, and stuff like that. So now anyways, let's start this video with the gear I'm wearing. So I'm wearing 3 Godskin Peelers. No, actually, I'm only using 2. It's just to prove a point a little bit later on in the video. I will be using the white mask that actually gets activated when you use Seppuku with this build. The white mask gives you 10% more damage. So you use the white mask because you proc blood loss with Seppuku. And you're going to be using the Lord of Blood's Exhaustion like all the other builds out there. The Lord of Blood's Exhaustion procs off Seppuku also, so you get an extra 30% damage right off the bat because you proc blood loss on you. So Seppuku and these 2 items go hand in hand. We're going to be using the Bull Goat that increases your poise, the Rod and Wing Sword Insignia that increases your successive attack damage, and right here I'm using the Clawed Talisman, but this is situational because you do not get the bonus damage by jumping and pressing L1 with this talisman. You only get it when you use R1 and R2. So you can swap that necklace out for something else, like more stamina recovery, because this build actually does use a lot of stamina when you do a bunch of combos. Just use whatever you want to use for the 4th talisman. Now I'm using Veteran's Armor. Just use whatever you want for armor. If your equip load is not high enough, just use medium armor. It does not change anything with this build because you will be clocking. Now, for the mix of Wondrous Physique, I am using the Torn Crack tier, which also increases your successive attack power, and the Opaline Bubble tier that gives you a shield. Now, on my offhand, I'm using the Godskin Peeler with Seppuku, and on my main hand, I am using Bloodhound Step. On this one right here, I also have Seppuku on my main hand as secondary weapon, but this is only useful when you're fighting bosses. So before I forget, I want to talk about this. Some people are telling people if you have a weapon that already has blood loss on it and then you put occult on your Ash of War, that you will get more blood loss like that. I have 77 points in Arcane, then I tried it with 80 points and it does not change anything. Like occult gives me 109 there, and with 80 points it went up to 114, and this weapon already has 55 blood loss. When I put the blood infusion on this weapon, I get the exact same amount of blood loss buildup than on my Godskin Peelers that has no passive effects of blood loss on it. It's the exact same number, 140 on both weapons. And this weapon has innate scaling to it. When I go from blood to occult, the arcane scaling goes from D to B. So that is innate scaling right there. Now, the reason why I'm not getting more blood loss when I'm going on occult is because I have a lot of points in dexterity, so it does not change anything. So in other words, if you're running a dexterity build weapon like me, it's detrimental for you to put occult on a weapon that already has blood loss on it than using a weapon that does not have blood loss and adding it to the weapon. One more thing about Seppuku is that it gives you 30 physical damage and it gives you 83 points in blood loss if you have 80 points in arcane because it scales off arcane. Just so you know, with the Godskin Peeler, because it scales on strength, dexterity, and arcane, you get more blood loss from that weapon than using the Bandit's Curved Sword. Now let's test out Seppuku on both weapons, then no Seppuku at all, and then Seppuku only on my offhand. So right here, I'm going to kill this NPC with Seppuku proc on both my weapons, no other buffs other than that one, and you will see it will do close to 2,400 damage. 2,394. Then I'm gonna attack him again with no buff, and I don't even do 1,200. Then I'm gonna do it with Seppuku only on one weapon, and you'll see it's still over 2,000 damage. And that's 2,094. So it's a 300 damage difference, and that is unbuffed. I could do at least 4,000 damage having it on one weapon only. Now the full combo with only one weapon with Seppuku activated on it is 738 points of blood loss. So unless someone has more than 738 points in robustness, this combo will one-shot anyone and proc blood loss almost instantly. Just make sure your blood loss passive effect on your weapon is over 110 and you're good to one-shot people with this build having Seppuku only on one weapon. Now, are there people out there watching this video wondering how the hell do you proc Seppuku on both weapons? You will need to hold your offhand weapon in both hands at the same time. So what you do is you press triangle and L1, then you will be holding your offhand weapon, you proc Seppuku on it, then you do triangle, L1 again, and after that you use the R2 and proc Seppuku on your second weapon, and you will have Seppuku procced on both weapons. If, like me, you're going to be using Bloodhound Step, you just do the same thing. You press triangle, and you do L1, proc Seppuku, and then go back to holding two weapons at a time, and you're good. Now, let's go over the way that you need to cast your buffs. There's a rotation that you need to follow. You do either Golden Vow, and then Flame Grant Me Strength, and then you use your Pot of Physique, and after that, you do the Seppuku. Note that if you use some defensive consumables and stuff that change your resistances, or spells that do the same, that you might remove your other offensive buffs doing so at the same time. So make sure that whatever you're using is not removing your offensive buffs. One last thing before I finish the video and tell you guys where to get the gear and what are the combos with this. So this is an advanced build, so keep that in mind. I'm level 350, so if you're level 200, you might not be able to maximize the build and the bleed on your weapon as much as I am. Some of you might have to actually use Seppuku on both weapons in PvP to be able to do what I'm doing now. So keep in mind, I might be a higher level than you. But now at least you know how to proc Seppuku on both your weapons, so don't forget to subscribe. So this build scales primarily with strength, dexterity, and arcane. Just put as many points as you can to maximize the damage and the blood loss with this. Afterwards, the only thing you have to worry about is your endurance. Now the white mask, the War Surgeon set, it drops some nameless white mask NPC invaders in the Mogwin Dynasty Mausoleum, but if you beat Moog, you will not be able to fight these invaders. If you're using Moog's Great Rune, note that it will give the same buff as the necklace that you're using, the Lord of Exaltation. It will give him the same buff 2 times. It will stack. So it will make your Mimic stronger. I'm not using this rune specifically when I PvP, I'm just letting you guys know because a lot of people wear it in PvP. I only play solo. Now the Black Wet Blade, it's in the Night Sacred Ground. Seppuku, it's a scarab at the Freezing Lake. Go straight from the Grace and you'll see it on your left. The Bloodhound Step is in Lenny's Rise. The Godskin Peeler is the boss in the Windmill Village. The Rod and Wing Sword Insignia, you can get it from Millicent's Quest, or you can get the Wing Sword Insignia from the Stillwater Cave boss. The Lord of Blood Exaltation, you get it from killing Esgar, the Priest of Blood, in Laydell Catacombs. So to finish off the video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you're new here, especially if it helped you. If you use this build in PvP or PvE, let me know how it went. I want to hear from you guys in the comments. because I really want to know what you guys think of this build. Now for the combos, there's nothing much that changes except the L1. Now you can do Bloodhound Step L1, you can do Jump L1, you can do Jump L1, 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 L1. You can do it multiple times, but obviously the whole goal of this is to do the Jump L1 and hit with both weapons at the same time. You can still do from sneak L1, running L1, all the same stuff you can usually do. Nothing changes for that except the L1. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope this build will help you.